Good afternoon, and welcome to this afternoon's presentation, Kick It in College. My name is Sol Gonzalez, and what I hope to do is talk to you about some strategies to be successful in college. And basically, I've divided these into five general areas. So let's do an overview. First, get started on the right foot. 2, get organized. 3, be committed to your success. 4, get involved. And 5, use the available resources. So let's see how we get started on the right foot. So you're a new student in college. It's very important that you do things early. For example, how are you going to pay for your classes? Make sure that you always apply for financial assistance early on, such as the FAFSA. You apply once a year for the new academic year. If you already applied, make sure you're tracking the progress or status of your aid. You need to make sure that you know when your appointments are for orientation and registering for classes. You want to become familiar with the campus prior to the first day of class. Don't wait until the first day of class to find your classrooms. You have your schedule, find your classrooms. Figure out where you're going to park if you're driving to the campus. If you're taking public transportation, take the bus before you get there or the train and figure out how long it's going to take you. Be familiar with what textbooks each class requires. You can check them out at the campus bookstore or online with the course abbreviation. Let's say you have an English composition class, ENC 1101. In the bookstore, you will be able to know what book and edition is associated with that class. You can obtain your books either new or used, or you can rent them. Also very important to know your professors' names. Many times on your schedule, you will have your professor's name listed on there. If not the first day of class, make sure that you pay attention and write down your professor's name and refer to your professor by their name. Professor Gonzalez or Ms. Gonzalez, unless they ask you to call them in a different manner, like Dr. Gonzalez, or some will let you call them by their first name. And don't follow the myth that the first day of class is not important. The first day is very important. They tell you what to expect in class. It'll set the ground rules. You'll know how your class will be graded. You'll also get to meet your fellow students who will be a great resource for you. Many times the first day of class or during that first week, you will get a document called a course syllabus, which will tell you the name of your book, the name of your professor's office hours, or a way to be able to contact your professor, and how you will be graded in the class. Make sure you hold on to that course syllabus. So we talked about the first step, which is to get started on the right foot. Another resource for success is to be organized. Ways to be organized. Use a planner or a calendar. Most of you will probably have some form of an electronic calendar, such as Outlook, or a calendar on your iPhone if you use one. Or you can use a hard copy calendar. You want to schedule your classes if you work. Where to, if you're working, you plan your times. If you're in class, another way to get organized is to not get overwhelmed. Divide large assignments into smaller chunks. For example, you may have a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, and let's say on Monday you're assigned 50 pages for Wednesday. Well, don't leave all 50 pages until the night before on Tuesday. You may want to divide it into the 2 days, and you don't have to do all of it in one sitting, especially if you have a short attention span. Well, I'm going to take a couple of questions, and you can be typing in your questions, and if they're related to what we're discussing, I'll go ahead and stop and answer your questions. If not, I'll do so at the end. I see that Abig is asking, when are we supposed to have our books? Or when do we order our books? Well, Abik, you can purchase your books ahead of time, and you can find the names of your books in your campus bookstore or online if you do a search for the bookstore through the student portal. But if you do buy them in advance, make sure you hold on to the receipt in case you have to make any changes. Okay. I see Tara asked, since I mentioned orientation for getting started on the right foot, for orientation, if depending where you attend school, for example, if you're a student at Miami Dade College, you would be getting emails with that information so that you can register. If not, you can contact your new student center of your campus and they can assist you in signing up for a new student orientation. All right, so let's continue with ways to be organized. You want to also have, in addition to having a planner and scheduling your study time, you want to have designated study locations free of distraction. If you have your own room, maybe have a little table or a location that you would study that you could keep all your materials and a computer or laptop. And if you don't, maybe just an area that you find free of distractions. Also, your campus has great locations free of distractions, such as the library. There's many quiet areas, computer courtyards. You can access computers to do research and prepare your papers. So we've covered two areas for succeeding as a student to kick it in college: getting started on the right foot and being organized. A third and very important area is be committed to your success. Commitment includes showing up in life. I once had a professor who gave me an important tip. Half of life is showing up. And yes, that includes your classes. You want to be punctual and arrive on time. Complete all of your assignments, even if it's not going to be collected in class. That way you make sure that you're on top of things and you're not feeling lost. You want to participate in class. You want to ask questions if you're not sure on something. If the professor asks questions, answer if you know the answer. If there's group assignments, and many classes may have group assignments, be an active part of that group. But participating in class also requires a balance. You don't want to monopolize the class, but you also don't want to be aloof and not be involved. You also want to be committed to selecting a major or a career pathway. If you're not sure, that's okay. We're going to talk about some resources for helping you select a major. And very important, you want to be committed to completing your degree, completing your goal. Another way to be successful is to get involved. Students tell us, and so does research supports it, that students that are involved in their campus life are more successful because they feel like they're a part of something. And it's also a good way to maintain balance. Your priority is your education, but you want to do other activities that will support your success academically. And what are some ways that you can get involved? There are many student clubs and organizations. Student government. There's a club related to almost any major, like Future Educators of America or Florida Engineering Society, Students in Free Enterprise, honor societies such as Phi Beta Lambda. There's also student newspapers and literary magazines. If you're interested in writing, or you're a photographer or do graphic arts, that's a great way to practice your skills and have something added to your resume. For example, here at Miami Dade College and also at many other colleges and universities, there's something called Activity Hour. At Miami Dade, it's at noon every Wednesday. So if you're a daytime student, that's a great way to participate in activities that are planned just for you. Some are just fun, some are educational, some are cultural in nature. and you can obtain information through Student Life, and there will be postings throughout the campus. And speaking of cultural events, this is a great way to enrich your education by attending plays or musical performances or dances. At Miami Dade, we're nationally known for our Book Fair International and Miami Film Festival. Some of these activities are free of charge to you as a student, or you can get in with your student ID at a nominal price. We want you to be healthy. All campuses have some form of fitness types of activities available to you. There might be a wellness center or exercise classes through the continuing education departments. Also very important is to be involved by volunteering. And many people indicate that when they volunteer, they're not only helping others, but many times they feel that they even get more out of it. One is the satisfaction of having helped another person or organization, but also being able to gain some experience, because you could select to volunteer in an organization perhaps related to something that you're interested in terms of a career field, and then you can build your resume. Resources, and we have a question from Francis of what is a book advance? A book advance, Francis, comes from your financial aid. Let's say you have FAFSA. Depending on the amount that's allocated or you're eligible for, after your tuition is paid, a portion would be separated or advanced to you to purchase your books. And if you're a Miami Dade College student, at the bottom left of your schedule, it would indicate the amount that you're eligible for in the book advance. And when you would purchase your books in the college bookstore, that money would be set aside so that you could purchase your books. If you do not utilize your book advance, then any monies left over after paying your tuition would be dispersed to you. So let's talk about other resources in addition to the financial resources. It's very important that you utilize the resources available to you. They're there for a reason. In many cases, you've already paid for them built in course fees. For example, there are many labs and tutoring support services available to you. Math labs, science labs, English labs. Some classes have required lab time that you have to fulfill, and it is part of the grade. But some classes do not have required labs, but you can utilize the lab as a resource. I cannot underestimate your professor as a resource. They are the expert in that field. Many professors have office hours. If they're a full-time professor, they will list their office hours on their syllabus, or you can find that information on the website or their department. And that's a time that you can meet with them if you need additional assistance. And you don't want to wait until you're lost. If you have any signs of that you may be having difficulties in a class, go visit with your professor at the first sign of any trouble. Also, if the professor is adjunct or part-time, many times you will have contact information so that you can reach out to them. New students have assigned advisors. You want to follow up with your assigned advisor. Your advisor is going to create with you what's called an individualized education plan so that you can look at your studies for the long term. You're here for an associate's degree, which is approximately 2 years of your full-time or longer if you require additional coursework. You can see what you're going to be required to take every semester. If you're a student with a disability, you should visit your Department for Students with Disabilities at Miami Dade. It's called Access, and the website is www.mdc.edu/main/access. And you can meet with one of the counselors in the Access Department and based on your specific situation, the advisor can guide you in terms of what services you're eligible for. It's very important that you can utilize the library and computer courtyard at the campuses. If you need help with research, a quiet place to study, the librarians are your friends. If you need a computer, maybe you have some gap of time in between classes, or home is not the most quiet place to study, there are computers on campus that you can utilize. Other resources. We were talking earlier about being committed to selecting your career. If you're undecided completely about your major, a good place to start is by doing an interest inventory. And you may ask me, so what is an interest inventory? Well, an interest inventory is an assessment or a tool that looks at the things that you like. What are you interested in? Things that you like, and also just as important, what don't you like? And one interest inventory is called Choices Planner, and you can access it free of charge at Miami Dade College website, which I've listed the address, www.mdc.edu/main/advisement/careers. And it's self-explanatory. It gives you the results based on the things that you like and don't like. When you take the Choices Planner, it will tell you what career areas are similar to your interests. And you can also take the results of your interest inventory when you meet with your assigned advisor. If you think you know what you want to major in, you can also use Career Coach at that same site, and it will tell you, based on the career you're interested in, what you need to major in. Or let's say you know what you want to major in, or you think you do, or you're undecided between several areas, it is very important to research your career interest. And one option is to use the Occupational Outlook Handbook, which I abbreviated as OOH. Occupational Outlook Handbook is linked with the Department of Labor. So there you can research things such as, what does somebody do in that career field? Let's say I'm interested in being a teacher, an elementary school teacher. It will describe, what does an elementary school teacher do? What kind of training is required? Is licensing required? Also very important is it will tell you about job outlook. In other words, is this career field expected to increase in demand, stay stable, or decrease? And you can do that for many career areas. And very interestingly, it will also tell you other career areas associated with that career field that maybe you have never even thought about. So it is very important that you invest time in researching your career interest area. You can meet with your advisor, a career advisor, or your assigned advisor. Another resource are financial resources. And I know that in speaking with students, that's generally a concern. In addition to grants, which is the Pell Grant or FAFSA application, there are many scholarships available. Some are from private sources or corporations. But you do need to do your homework and investigate what is available. One place that you can look is on the Miami Dade College website, www.mdc.edu/main financial aid/scholarships. It's very important when applying for scholarships, you should never have to pay an individual or an organization. Research should be free of charge. Many scholarships are associated with your grade point average, but some could be related to a major or your ethnic background to qualify for that particular scholarship. So do your homework because these additional funds may be very important to you. So we've discussed 5 areas to be successful in college. just to summarize, and I will get to your additional questions, is to kick it in college, you want to get started on the right foot. Get organized. Be committed to your success. Get involved and use the resources that are available to you. And when in doubt, ask questions, ask your advisor, ask your professor. Now let's see, this is the time where I'm going to answer your additional questions that I didn't have a chance to answer within the presentation. I see a question from Isaac, and Isaac indicates he asked, he's wanting to know if the college has received his transcript. What I can do, Isaac, is offline, I can check that for you. And you're asking, there is a site that you can go online to verify if your transcript has been received. But if you'd like, I could check that for you as well. And you indicate that you finished an online orientation, and asking if you have to attend orientation at the Hialeah campus. Well, generally you will want to attend your orientation at the campus you will attend, since you will be meeting your assigned advisor, and that's the advisor that will work with you. However, if you're having any difficulties, feel free to speak to somebody, an advisor or a new student center there at the Hialeah campus, and they can help sign you up at another location. I hope I answered your question, Isaac. Carla has a question, and she's asking, great question, Carla, where do you have to go to join clubs or organizations? Generally, you can do that through the Student Life Department, and they have an incredible list of clubs and organizations, and it's the same place where you get your student ID card. Once you have your schedule of classes, and your classes are paid for, you can get your picture ID and parking decal in the Student Life Department. And even if you haven't gotten your student ID card or parking decal, you can learn more about clubs and organizations. And during the first week of class, there will be something called Club Rush, where you can also learn more about clubs and organizations. Tara has a great question. She says she eventually wants to be an OBGYN, and what would be the best major? Well, Tara, if you're a Miami Dade College student, you would begin with something called an Associate in Arts degree, which is the 2-year degree to transfer to a university to continue for a bachelor's degree, and you want to have a career pathway or major in pre-medical sciences or pre-biology. So generally you would get a bachelor's degree. It could be in biology or chemistry, and then eventually after your bachelor's degree you would take the test called the MCAT and apply to medical schools. So it's very important that you maintain your grades. In particular, they'll look at your math and science, a lot of your science classes. Carla has a question. If you have extra financial aid dollars left, where can I receive the rest? Well, Carla, again, if you're a Miami Dade College student, as a new student, you would get an email asking you if you want to receive it through the Hire One debit card, or if you want it going to your bank account. The Hire One acts as a debit card where you can withdraw the funds, or you can have it go to your banking institution. And that generally takes place after the 100% refund period. I see Tanisha has some questions too. Can any student use the gym or fitness room? Tanisha, yes. If you are a student you can use the fitness centers or the gym. You would present your student ID card, or probably have to swipe it to verify that you are a student. Jesse has a question about activity hour. Activity hour and cultural events apply to all Miami-Dade campuses, yes or no? Yes, all campuses have activity hour, and different campuses may have different cultural events. Some events may be more of a college-wide activities, such as Miami Book Fair or Miami Film Festival, which any student can go to either free of charge or reduced cost. So yes, as long as you're a student, you can participate in these activities, and many of the cultural activities are open to the community as well. Let's see, we have Christopher with some questions. When are we receiving our leftover FAFSA money, which I just addressed? It will happen after the 100% refund period. And the rationale for that, Christopher, is that within the 100% refund period, students can withdraw from classes with a full refund, meaning the money would go back to financial aid. Because if it's after that time and students withdraw excessively from classes, you could end up owing some of that money if you received it. So monies are dispersed after the 100% refund period. Francis has a wonderful question. How much is for tutoring if needed? There are free tutoring services on campus. Some of them could be small groups. But yes, through the lab, sometimes you have one-on-one tutoring. Some of it might be computerized, but you also have tutors, which you do not pay additional dollars for. Abigail also has some questions, and our time is starting to run short. We'll be wrapping up shortly, but let's see. Abigail says, where can I find a counselor that can help fill out, let's see, student loan application? I'm having a difficult time, please help. I'm sorry to hear that, Abigail. Again, if you're a Miami-Dade student or applying to Miami-Dade, all campuses do have financial aid workshops, and you could go to one of those workshops. It is on our website, financial aid. You can find the available workshops at each of the campus where you can seek assistance with the loan application. If not, you can definitely visit your financial aid office. Okay, let's take one more question. Francis is asking, how can I get to the Occupational Outlook Handbook? You can either Google it, Occupational Outlook Handbook, or if you go to the Miami-Dade website and go into the advisement or careers pages, you will find the quick link to the Occupational Outlook Handbook. Let's see if we have time for one more question. Okay, do you know, this is Derica, do you know typically how long it takes for someone who wants to major in education to graduate? Derica, it depends. If you want to teach at the elementary or secondary level, it's a bachelor's degree. If you're full-time, that's 4 years. If you want to teach in a college or university, you need at least a master's degree, which could be an additional 2 to 3 years. And many times, depending on the levels that you're teaching, you may need a doctorate degree. Well, this concludes our time. Thank you so much for your participation, and we look forward to seeing you succeed as a student.